go live, and go live we did. I'm just miking up here so you guys can hear me loud and clear. Just got back from Bible study, so I'm grateful for that time. You might be wondering who I might be. And the truth of the matter is, I am ThreePlusKei. I'm just an honest Christian here to encourage you to pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, your physical health, and persistent education. And this space right here is called the Secret Heart Club. Hit it! Welcome to the Secret Heart Club. Everyone does a part to bring love. We love, hey, we love Jesus at the Secret Heart Club. Hey, Boston. Good to see ya. So I was just saying, I was just at Bible study with Ben, actually, or Ben goes with the men and I go with the women. Ben is in Colossians and the women are in Elijah. And we were talking about our prayers and being convinced and convicted that we will offer ourselves as a sacrifice, be it our time, our talents, our energy, our resources, but we will be living sacrifices and trust that the Lord will provide for us instead of praying like many of us do, myself included. Lord, I have this problem. And maybe even I have this solution. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do. And will you bless that? Or, Lord, I have this problem. Can you swoop in and fix it? And I promise to be a really, really good girl. Right. And so prayer isn't meant to work like that. Our relationships with the Lord aren't really meant to work like that. Hey, Tanner. Oh, Tanner, I'm good. I'm just saying I just came back from Bible study and we were talking about kind of communing with the Lord and living intentionally the way that we live our life. And so anyway, I was telling you guys, for those of you who aren't in your word every day and you're like, Lakitha, ThreePlusKei, where do I even start? Do I start in John? Do I start in the New Testament? If I don't read my Bible, where should I start? And most Christians would tell you to start in the book of John. Me personally, when I was told that John is super long, you should definitely do that at some point or some one of the four gospels. I tell people to start with Mark, actually, because Mark is a book of action. If you want to see how we're supposed to conduct ourselves as Christians, in Mark, the Gospel of Mark, we don't even get into chapter 1, verse 12, before Jesus is out there healing this guy with the crooked hand or whatever. And so what does that tell you? As Christians, we should be going out into the world, not only praying for people, but also serving and loving people as God would as well. And that's what the book of Mark is about and gets to quick, fast, in a hurry. The Gospel of John gives you from the roota to the tuta Jesus's life. Is that appropriate? I don't think that's appropriate. Not the roota. You know what that means. Not the roota to the tuta of Jesus. the beginning to the end of Christ's life, the John covers it, but it's just very long. I would say if you don't know where to start or what to do, or you're just opening the Bible for the first time, Proverbs has 31 chapters, and many of the months of the year have 31 days. And Proverbs is very easy to digest. You don't have to know what's going on to absorb its knowledge. It's literally like a book of knowledge. And so anyway, I've read the entire Bible, I think 4 times now. But right now, my vibe is to read the chapter that corresponds with the day in Proverbs. And today, since it being the 23rd, I was in Proverbs 3. So I made it to verse 6, which says, "Do not eat the food of a begrudging host. Do not crave his delicacies, for he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost." So in other words, don't take something from somebody that they don't want to be giving you. If they have a problem with giving you the thing, you could end up with a lot of problems by taking it. So for example, my other job, I'm a social worker as a 9 to 5. And then on the weekends, I work on a food truck. And so one thing I'm really good at is upselling people. So you think you're coming to the food truck for a burger, and then you end up leaving with 2 burgers, a $15 fry, a water, and a soda, because I got you to do that. I talked so much and I was entertaining enough that you purchase these things from me. Typically, I don't have a problem with upselling to people. Every once in a while, and to be honest, it's always like a younger girl. And when I say a younger girl, I mean maybe like a 20-year-old girl who's super sweet and super nice. And I'm upselling her, and I can tell she doesn't really want to purchase more. She's just doing it because I'm telling her to do it. And when this happens, I stop and I tell her, you don't want this stuff. Just stick with your burger or just your fries or what have you, right? I think it's not a good thing to force people to give you something that they don't want to give. Or we can even think about friendship. We really want to be friends with a particular person, or we really want to date a particular person, and we basically badger them into dating us or being friends with us. That person will never respect us. They don't want to be with us. They're begrudgingly giving their time to us. And so we will pay the cost. And that's what that's saying. Do not eat the food of a begrudging host. Do not crave his delicacies, for he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost. They're thinking about the penalty to themselves. And that's not going to work out for you in the end, because they're not thinking about serving you or loving you well. So you might as well leave people where they are. If they don't want to give you something, don't force it. Don't force situations. And we're human, right? We've all been there. Forced a relationship, forced a friendship. You don't want to give it up. Forced a job even, right? We're working at this place, trying to hold on to something that doesn't even want us or serve us. That's what this proverb is saying. And the reason why it stuck out to me is, and I've been pretty vocal about this. Here's what happened. So when I first started this YouTube channel a year ago, I also was sending out, there were 15 people I considered friends, and I was sending out a Sunday message like, this is what's going on in my life, and this is my most recent video. And one day, I sent out this message at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and by the end of the night, I checked my views on the video and there were 0 views, meaning of the 15 people that I had sent the video to, none of them took the time to click on the video. And so I talked to some of them and there were all like really good reasons, like, oh, I was out of town, I was da-da-da-da-da. But what I thought to myself was, why is it, let's say there's 8 billion people on the planet. 8 billion people on the planet. If you sent, you people watching this, if you sent a text message to only 15 random people out of 8 billion, at least one person would respond. But I had sent out this video to 15 people I knew, and none of them had watched the video. And so instead of necessarily getting upset with them, I thought to myself, what kind of people have I surrounded myself to that 15 people total are unsupportive? And I had to evaluate the people I had chosen to keep around me and ultimately cut 7 or 8 of them out of my life. I didn't explain myself. I never talked to them again because I realized that I was holding on to friendships or like concepts of people that I don't know, they weren't really like, they were like maybe in the context of Proverbs 6, begrudgingly giving me friendship. And so I paid the cost, right? And I think I only bring that story up because we've all kind of been there as far as like holding on to something or somebody a little longer than we should, due to loyalty or a situation that I've been in many times, especially being Christian, is like you give grace to somebody and then more grace and then more grace. And what we don't really talk about that often in the church space is cutting people off. Like when it's time, like you can forgive somebody, right? And be on your merry way. I think it's not always appropriate, but I think there's definitely like moments in time when you can forgive somebody and walk away and separate yourself from them. And that could be the healthiest thing for the both of you. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's a prayerful action, but you know when you're holding on to something that maybe it's time to let go and move on. You know what I mean? Hey, the Guardian. You're back. Yeah. And so this verse, do not eat the food of a begrudging host, do not crave his delicacies, for he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost. It really struck me hard because I've had to do some reevaluating of, people who might just kind of like be in my life. And maybe they don't want to be, maybe they're there for loyalty, or maybe it's just comfortable. I think I've allowed comfort in some of my relationships. Do you know what I mean? You guys are on, let me just acknowledge that. You guys are on top of it, blocking people today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I was just thinking about this earlier. Any kind of racial stuff, you guys can just go ahead and block them. I am a Christian, but I am not, I'm also a Black person that does not want to deal with racism. I don't have grace for disrespect in this space. I don't have grace for racial disrespect in this space. So you could go ahead quickly and get them out of here. You know, I think we tolerate a lot in this space as far as trolls go and like people saying their piece, because sometimes people turn it around, like they see they're not getting the attention from the negative talk. And so they start to participate in the conversation. I think that's a good thing. But the racial stuff, get them out of here. The Guardian says people surround themselves around people for different reasons. Yeah. And I think for me, I have stopped doing this. But I think for me, I have made being friends with me very comfortable in the way that I am there for people and like check on people. And then I had to start paying attention to who does that for me. I call it the 15, like the day of the 15. When that happened, I was forced to pay attention to people who were there for me or not. I don't know how sad I've been about it, actually. When I first got rid of like the first 8 people, you know, it was like par for the course. You gotta like, it's not about being happy. It's that we're called to love others as ourselves. And the reason why as ourselves is tacked onto that is because our sinful nature makes us selfish people anyway. And so we will always hold ourselves in higher regard than other people. We will always feed ourselves first. We will always, and not always literally, but you know what I mean. We'll always look out for ourselves first. The only exception being the immediate extension of the nuclear family. So our spouses and our children are extensions of ourselves. And so when we love other people like ourselves, it's in the best way possible. And we also deserve to be loved as well. And so when people are not returning that, reciprocating it, first of all, they're not doing the Lord's will in treating us being the others. They're not doing the Lord's will in treating us properly. But we're not respecting ourselves by accepting mistreatment. The Guardian says ego and self-preservation. Yeah. And it can get tricky because we can get it twisted and be like, me. We can get that twisted too. So this is where discernment comes in. This is where being intentional of serving others and living out God's love. This is where this comes into play. And it's a prayerful thing. It's a prayerful thing to look out for yourself because it's necessary, right? Especially if you have a family, you have to look out for yourself in order to protect your family. But also, right, people do make mistakes. I was watching this interview with Alex Hermosi today, and he was talking about how people are so mad at billionaires and how the people think the concept of billionaires shouldn't exist and all billionaires are evil and there's no way you could be a billionaire if you're not evil. And Alex Hermosi was saying, when I'd never heard this perspective, he was like, well, if you take the general public, like all 8 billion people on the planet, there's going to be a section of them that are just naturally like evil and unethical. There's just going to be a section of that. So then you take a section, you take billionaires, right? There's going to be a section of evil and unethical billionaires too. And then you take the concept of business itself, which the whole point of business is to sell a product or service and maximize your profits. There's going to be regulations and policies through the government, and you're going to break some of those from time to time. And Alex Hermosi's point was saying, are there billionaires who are evil and unethical? Yes. Are there also billionaires who have just made mistakes and broken regulations and whatever? Because most billionaires are billionaires for the first American billionaires. Most American billionaires are billionaires for the first time. We don't have like a lot of royalty in America. So mistakes are going to happen. For those of you who are watching that have gone up, like, you know, you're in your 20s and you're in poverty, and then you go throughout the years and you're making more money and you're probably in like me, and like an entrepreneur, or you're a manager, or you're a supervisor, and you're climbing up the corporate ladder. You're going to make mistakes as you go along, and you're going to upset people. Those of you who've had to manage people before, you are 100% going to upset people, and people who are lower than you, because that's what happens, right? But just because you make mistakes doesn't mean that you are unethical and evil. It's just you didn't know better, and you've got to do better next time. I remember I had this one staff at an organization. I was managing like 12 staff, and they were saying some mistake. One of them was like talking about a mistake that I had made. And I was like, I promise you, I'm going to make 4 more mistakes today. I'm human. I'm going to make 4 more mistakes today. What you should be looking at, instead of taking count of the mistakes I'm making, so you can have an excuse to not work anymore, which is why you're not in a management position in the first place. Instead of taking stock of the mistakes that I'm making, why don't you pay attention to whether or not I make the mistake again? Did I make the mistake again? Did I learn from the mistake? That's the litmus test. And same thing with the billionaires. And I say all this to say, with the billionaires of evil and unethical and some making mistakes, that happens. And people, you need discernment of when to give people grace, and when what you did, sir, was so egregious and disrespectful, I do not want to be around you and will not be around you any further. That could also be a Christian response. Sometimes you got to separate. Sometimes you got to put people, hello, shout out to Ben in Boston. Sometimes you got to put people on timeout. Sometimes people got to go on timeout in your life. Lord Poppy says, people don't like when you manage them and you're younger. That's true. And there's an added layer in Montana. And I'm not really like I'm not really one to be like, oh, it's because I'm Black. However, just due to the environment I'm in this particular case, this incident I just told you about, I did wonder if it was a racial thing, because my supervisor at the time, and we had a hearty laugh about it, my subordinate said that I was unapproachable, that she couldn't come to me to talk to me. And the reason why that is funny, for those of you who are watching, I am now and always have been, I'm a social worker. So I have an ability to connect with people very quickly and actually have a problem being out in public and people walking up to me, telling me their business and telling me their problems. So the idea of me being unapproachable, even with my own supervisor, we had a hearty laugh about that, because it's like you're clearly trying to stir the pot or do whatever. So I don't know. But yeah, younger, I'm kind of aging out of that. I'm definitely older now. And one thing I have learned, I'm at an age that if I have somebody maybe in their 50s or their 60s or something like that, one thing I do is defer. And another thing is when I'm managing people, and you guys could try, I highly recommend this. Here's some free game. When you're managing people, go to your subordinates and have them teach you their job. And don't come to them as like, I'm the manager, so I need to know this just so I know how to do every job. You take a position of subordination to them, allow them to correct you when you do their job incorrectly, as you should, because that's not your job to be doing. So you're going to make mistakes. Be humble in that correction, and that will help build the relationship. It also will allow you, if you're short-staffed or whatever, it will allow you to seamlessly jump in and be more of a team player, and that will elicit respect. One more thing about being in a management position, I heard this and applied it immediately, and it really worked out to my favor. Do not make any changes in the first 60 days. Because if you come in making changes immediately, people are going to resent you. Like, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? He doesn't even know what's going on. And he's saying this, that, and the other. I had a whole mutiny. This was the job I just told you about with the girl and the unapproachable and the looking for my mistakes. I went in there because one thing about me is I can cut a cost. I can look at anything. And I'm laughing because you don't know me. It's true. I can look at anything and any situation and figure out how to do it for cheaper. Believe me. And so that's one reason why you would hire me to do a situation, why you would hire me as a manager in a situation, is to cut costs. Don't do that in the first 60 seconds or 60 days. Just observe. And then on the 61st day, you can go to town, but people will get upset for show. The Guardian says older and wiser. Yeah, you pick up these tricks as you go. And yeah, people don't like change. It's wild. And people don't like, I don't even know if I should say this. People don't like to be under management, but won't do what it takes to be the manager. Do you know what I mean? It's like broke people complain about being broke, but they don't want to start a business. They don't want to go out on a limb. They don't want to do the things, you know what I mean? I have a kiddo on my caseload, and I was talking to mom today, and it's so rough because he's 15 and he works in fast food. He works part-time in fast food. And the kid is having a hard time in school. And his plan is next year on his 16th birthday to drop out of high school and to work at the fast food full time. And it's like, what he doesn't understand is that right now he lives with his mom, who pays for his housing, who pays for his clothes, who pays for his food. So the money he has from working 10 hours a week at the fast food place, he spends on video games and weed, and it's all good. But when you turn 16 and you work 40 hours a week, it's going to hit different, but it's still going to be a little good for the next 2 years because your mom is, she's forced to keep you for those 2 years. But baby, and this is what I was talking to mom about, he's going to get a rude awakening when he only makes $16 an hour and he thinks he's balling. I would think I was balling too if somebody was 16 times 10, 160. You give me $160 a week for free to give me I could spend it on anything. I would love that. And then whatever, $16 an hour for 40 hours a week, and I don't have any bills or anything. I would be in love with life. But baby, when you turn 18, $16 an hour isn't going to, that's not. Somebody came on here one day because I was talking about being a songwriter. And the person was like, you're not a songwriter because you're live streaming from a $700 apartment. And I was like, speak that over me. Speak that. I know that was supposed to be an insult, but speak that over me. $700 apartment where? In 2002? Hey. Hey, $700. When was $700 rent? When was $700 rent? When did they do that? You know what I mean? And so my point is $16 an hour when he turns 18, that's looking for roommates, 2 or 3 roommates. We're looking at food stamps. We're looking at struggle bus. And then on top of that, this is what I was saying, if you don't have your GED, because he's not planning on getting his GED either, you're going to realize quickly around 18 that you need that GED. And then you're going to have to take those classes on top of working full time now because you have all these bills. Shoot. Basement apartment. I don't even know about that. The last time I have a friend who, her mortgage is $500 and she bought her house, maybe 15. Yeah, she bought her house around 2008 when the housing market crashed. She put down, it was a $10,000 down payment, and she pays $500 a month for her mortgage. Those days, I would ask y'all, don't put what you're paying for your rent and your mortgage. But wouldn't you love somebody to bless you, put that over you? I hope you have a $700 apartment. I pray that for you guys. I pray a $700 mortgage all over this live stream. Amen. Oh, shoot. Sheesh. The blessings. Somebody says, are you actually gonna play? No. No. This I don't know if this person is still here. This ukulele business started I started this live stream 3 months ago. I was very depressed, and part of me getting out of the depression was learning something new, and the ukulele was the something new. And now I just kind of like strum, and every Sunday I play a new song that I learned. So that's what I got for you. I don't play every day. I'd be playing. People ask me to play something all the time. I would just be sitting here playing, and that would be the live stream. But this is a Christian live stream that doesn't have much to do with the ukulele at all. Lord Poppy says, my friend pays about that for his mortgage, and he got his house after me in 2024. So he agreed once he pays his off, he's going to help me pay mine. $500 mortgage in 2024? What? That's baffling. I am flabbergasted. I can't even comprehend it. Wallace Donegan says, have a great evening. You as well, sir. You as well. I'm going to pray us out. It is 9:08. Good people, bedtime is at 9:05. I got to hit the road, Jack, but I will be coming back tomorrow. Good Lord, thank you for this time together. I want to especially lift up Ben and Boston, who were quick to the draw today. Their blocking game was strong, good Lord. We know that you did not call people to a spirit of disrespect, but here we are on this good evening. The people that were disrespectful, Lord, I ask that you tame their hearts and tame their tongues, and create in them new hearts. And for the rest of us, please, allow us intentionality in serving you and serving his people, loving you and loving your people. It's been a good day, Lord, for that. I thank you for the health that you do provide. I want to lift up that lady in the Bible study that's had cancer 2 times, and she's beside herself, Lord. She doesn't know what to do with her life. I just, my heart really goes out to her. I pray that you offer her some comfort and restore her brain function, Lord, so that she can have some semblance of what life was like before the double cancer attack. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, though, says about that a little more. His house isn't in peak condition, though. Someone took all the appliances. It was foreclosed on first. Sheesh. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Talk to you later.